I am going to give you a few tips on how you could start your jersey design, and we're going to do a practice jersey together. Open this file, and what you have here is you have a white jersey on the bottom, a photo from the internet, and a text layer. Let's start by putting this photo in the jersey. So what we have to do is click on the photo layer. I have it highlighted in orange. Press Control as you click and a pop-up will appear. Choose Create Clipping Mask, and the picture will go inside of the jersey that's already cut out. On the picture layer and you're on the Move tool, you can still move that picture around. It just stays within the jersey. Now I want you to double click the T on the text layer and change the number. And if you need to do any kerning, you can kern the numbers. And I would like you to recenter. Double click your text layer in the gray area, and this will pop up your layer styles. Layer styles are, you could add bevels, strokes, shadows, glow, you could change the color, you could put gradients over anything that's on that layer. So since this is text, I want to try putting a stroke around the letter and also a color overlay. So I'm just going to click color overlay and choose a color, and you can do so as well. So choose a color. Now I want you to choose stroke. So you click the check mark next to stroke, and then you can pick a color. This will put a frame around your text. You can also add strokes where the stroke can go on top of the stroke. So if you play around with the order of the strokes, you can actually rechange like how many strokes are on it, so you could have a double stroke. When you like the layer style, you just hit OK, and that layer style will stay applied to that layer, in this case our text. Next, I'm going to teach you how to make a painting out of the photograph. So we need a new layer. So click on the new layer. Again, the new layer icon is just at the bottom of your layers palette. Looks like a little page turn. And now you have a new layer. Name that new layer Paint. Okay, so now we're going to use a paintbrush. Click and hold the brush and use the Mixer Brush tool. The tool allows us to suck up color from a photo and use it to mix and blend our own colors. Go up to the options bar and choose brush number 17. It's a chalk brush. Close the brushes, and then also in the options bar you want to click this first icon and make sure that the icon to the left of it has checkers, so there's nothing in there. And now we're going to be ready to paint. And we want to be on our paint layer. We want to place marching ants around the jersey, so we're going to hold down Command and click the jersey layer icon, so the little thumbnail icon. Once you Command click that, it will put marching ants around the jersey. Now, even though we just clicked on the jersey layer to put marching ants, we still want to make sure that the paint layer is active so that it'll have a gray line over the paint layer. Now we are ready to paint. So I'm going to zoom in, and I have my brush. Don't forget your bracket keys can change the size of your brush. And because we have the marching ants, we are definitely going to stay within the jersey, even though we're on a paint layer. So I just like to paint in kind of diagonal strokes. And what it's doing is it's sampling the colors and putting it on the paintbrush. So it's sampling the colors from all layers. Brush doesn't seem to be doing anything. Look at your options bar and make sure a little check mark is in Sample All Layers, because this way it will sample the color of the picture and put it on your brush so that you can paint on your layer. Now you can just paint, and it kind of is just smearing the paint, and the idea isn't just to smear things around. The idea is to actually create a painting with these colors. So you should be aware of what's going on in the background. Like I'm doing water, and the water should be, very horizontal, whereas the clouds can be more puffy. If you want to see how you're doing, you could turn off your picture layer, the one that's in orange, and you can see your paint from down below. So it's actually just going on that layer. Sometimes you'll see big holes in the layer. Now something else, when you get close to anything that's dark, so such as this tower, you got to be really careful not to touch it because it will smear the dark into all the colors, which could possibly ruin the colors. You haven't turned off that yellow-orange layer, the one that's the picture's on, turn the little eyeball off. If you haven't done that, check that every once in a while so you can see how you're doing. Now, I made a new layer again, and I'm trying to paint this tower, and it is just a big sloppy mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command D to deselect the jersey, and I'm going to use the polygonal lasso tool, and I'm going to select the tower. The purpose of doing this is if I select this tower with the polygonal lasso tool, then when I go to paint on my new layer that I made, it's only going to paint inside of this selection. Just like when we selected the jersey, it only painted inside of the jersey. So now I have my new layer and I have the tower selected, and now I can paint. And you can see if I paint, from the outside in, it kind of smears color into that tower. So the best technique for this would be to not smear, from the outside in, but take it from the inside of the tower out towards those marching ants, and then you're not going to get a smear. Now I'm just doing the silhouette of this tower. You could, if you had time and you want to, you could do a lot of details within that tower. On the example that I made, I did use a lot of details, but it's really up to you what you use this reference for. Now I'm going to deselect the tower when I'm done, so I'll hit Command D so I'm not selecting this anymore, and then I'm going to do the technique where I hold Command and click the jersey so that the entire jersey is selected. Now I'm also going to hide that Bicentennial Tower. And the reason for that is because it's so dark, it would kind of really mess up my colors. So I'm going to hide the picture and the Bicentennial Tower, and I'm just going to try to stretch out my painting here. Now, remember, to stay inside the lines, you want to have the marching ants on the jersey. So you should have hit Command click, and you went to that jersey, and you put the marching ants on it. So Command click will place those marching ants. And I'm just stretching out the background here so that when I work with the layers, they don't get smeared. Now I did notice I have some white, so I'm going to just take the eraser tool in Photoshop and erase out some of the white. And now I can continue on the other side and just, keep extending this background without that white smear within it. And then I can get some more details from the actual picture so it doesn't just look like a big smear and smudge, and then continue the technique that I like. And then when I'm done with this, I could turn back on the Bicentennial Tower. And then just continue working, and when you're done, you'll turn off the picture because we don't have the rights to that picture, so we'll need to delete that layer. Turn back on the numbers, and you've got yourself a jersey. All right, now the second technique, we are going to use a different program. So we are going to use Adobe Illustrator, and we're going to open up our Illustrator jersey. And when this jersey opens up, you'll see that you have a jersey, and we are going to select it with the Move tool, and then we're going to select this icon on the bottom of the tool called Draw Inside. And now the jersey's selected. Now we deselect it by clicking in the gray. Now go to the Paint tool, pick any color, and I want you to scribble on top of it. And because we have the Draw Inside command on here, anything that we draw while we're in this mode will stay in that jersey. So we can draw shapes, we can draw squiggles, you could put graphics in there, anything you want will stay inside of there. So just continue working in this draw inside mode until you like it. Now you'll want to go back to regular mode eventually. You're ready to go back to normal draw mode. You just go to the bottom of your toolbar and you click on Draw Normal. Now, could you switch between the two programs, Illustrator and Photoshop? Yes. If you copied your Illustrator stuff and you pasted it into Photoshop, you could have some of the graphics go inside of Photoshop. So here I have pasted as a smart object, and I'm resizing it to fit my artwork. After you place this into Photoshop, you'll have to hit Enter, and you'll see that you can't use it because it's a smart layer, so you have to go to Layer, Rasterize, Smart Layer. And now we want to get rid of the white, so you could go to Select Color Range and then just hit Delete, and see how that does, deleting your colors. Now, I had to do that a couple times because I wasn't satisfied how it looked. It still looked a little grayed out. So I undid that, and then I just changed the fuzziness on the select color range. So I tried it again. I went to select color range and worked out the details, less fuzziness, and then I hit delete and it took out the white. So this should give you a few ideas about how to use Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop in your jersey design.